Hi there, my name is Jane Shine with PositivelyJane.net, and I am showing you my first card via video with the Lawn Fawn 2019 summer release. I wanted to hurry up and make a card for a really good friend for her birthday, and I hope it goes well, this whole video thing. It's a lot harder than I thought. So I started out with the Lawn Fawn Keep On Swimming stamp set with the Lawn Fawn Critter Chatter Pets, which has a lot of cool different animals in there. Sorry it's so fast. With the Lawn Fawn Stitch Speech Bubble, as well as the Lawn Fawn Stitch Squares, and then I use the Simon Says Stamp Stitch Squares as well. I started out with the My Favorite Things Tranquil Textures paper, and I used Gina K Aqua Mist. I cut this blue cardstock out of the Simon Says Stamp large rectangle. I then die cut the Critter Chatter on the Neenah white cardstock and cut that out with the Lawn Fawn large rectangle. And then I cut the pattern paper to a size to fit in the middle. I then stamped with Gina K Black Amalgam, which I love because you can use it for anything, on Neenah 110-pound white cardstock. It is my favorite cardstock to work with. And I stamped the fish bowl and the fish food. And I got a really good clear impression, which is one of the reasons why I like everything. And I apologize for my head and everything. I do not know how girls do this, or guys, without their heads in there. I stamped the fish and the bubbles, and then I wanted to complete my stitch speech bubble, and so I got out my ink swatches. This is Jennifer McGuire style. She is a genius and I love everything about her, and I have all of my inks, and I was just trying to find an ink that matched that particular cardstock. I ended up with the Gina K ink, and you'll see that in just a second. And again, I apologize for my head, but this is all brand new for me. So I use the Gina K Sea Glass ink, which is one of my favorite pool inks. And I put all the different critters that are in this critter stitch speech bubble. There's cats, there's dogs, there's birds, and there's fish. And I love the fact that it gives you the translation of everything, so that as you're stamping in bloop, 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 or meow, 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 you put a translation. There's a translation that says happy birthday, there's I love you, there's hello, there's also can I have a treat, I appreciate you, there's thanks. Some very fun sentiments that you can fill up or use for any other card for that example. I noticed that my stamps were not stamping as crisply as I wanted them to be, so because it was new, I ran it across my finger and rubbed off that new shiny part off the top. You can use an eraser, you can use the palm of your hand, or a baby wipe even, that'll work. And here is my finished stitch speech bubble. Isn't it so, so cute? So now I'm getting my COPICs out, and I'm going to color my images. I will list these colors at the bottom of the video because I realize they're very hard to see. And I just did some basic coloring. I'm not a COPIC colorer. I've taken some great classes from Sandy Allnock, and she has really helped me. So if you want to know how to do COPIC coloring, I highly recommend you give Sandy her website. I can link that below. I love working on Neenah 110 for my COPICs. I think paper plays a huge difference on whether or not you get a smooth impression. I usually start, I don't mean impression, blend. Start with the lighter, and then I go to the darkest, then the middle, and then I go back to the lighter. I'm doing the speech bubble with the C1 gray, and then I'm finishing that up with the colorist blender just to blend out that gray just a little tiny bit. And it's about right now I realized that I forgot to put the water line in my fishbowl. So I had to restamp everything. Thankfully, I wasn't all finished. And I just wanted to show you how easy it is to A, get your head in the video, and B, redo what you've already done. I always say it's only paper and time, and I do it for fun, and it isn't anything that really stresses me out. If paper crafting and card making stresses me out, I need to get a new hobby. So now I have a water line, now I have the fish and the bubbles, and I've sped up the coloring portion of this. I usually start out with the lightest color of COPICs, go to the darkest and do an outline, do a little bit of medium, and then finish up with the lightest again. Here I'm coloring in the whole fish bowl. This particular time though, I did the medium because I did the whole edges, and then I did a little bit of the dark, you can see, and then I filled in with the light. I don't take classes. I don't know much about COPIC coloring. Well, that's not true. I have taken a class from Sandy Olmock, and it was very, very helpful about blending and shading. I'm using the gray and the colorless blender again, and I thought I should color in that fish food so it blends just a little bit with the fish bowl. I did this in real time, and I will link everything down below so that you know exactly what I used, and I do have affiliated links. No extra charge to you if you'd like to click on or buy any of the supplies. That would be incredibly awesome. It helps me with my video making and my time. I'm using the matching die cuts for this particular set, and again, this is the Keep On Swimming stamp set and matching dies. And I cut them out with my Gemini Junior. I love my Gemini Junior. It is amazing. So I went with that My Favorite Things paper, and I cut it out with the Lawn Fawn Simple Stitch Hillside. I used foam tape to adhere the back, and I cut off the edge because it was a little long. And then I took and put that on top of the matching paper. Again, I just wanted to fill in the gap between the two whites of the top and the bottom. This is my favorite stamp runner, my Tombow stamp runner. It's a dot runner, and it doesn't stick and it doesn't gum up, and it's just my favorite. And I adhere that to the background piece. I then get my craft foam, which is my favorite way of popping a card up to give it a little bit of dimension and interest. And I'm real technical when I cut my foam. As you can see, I lay it on top of the card and I eyeball the cutting. One thing to make sure is you don't cut your card down below. And as you can see, I got it a little bit crooked, so I'm re-cutting it again. I like to use liquid glue. This is my favorite, the Nuvo Deluxe Adhesive. I like to use that because then I can move it around a little bit and not all of a sudden stick it down and realize I wasn't straight, and then I'm stuck, literally stuck, because it is glue. So I will glue on that side, and then I will glue this to the stripe piece that goes in between this and the bloop. This is what I'm gluing it to the blue piece. And again, this is the Gina K paper, and it's the Aqua Mist, and I love this paper. And look how cute that little fishbowl looks on top of there. So I do want to pop that fishbowl up. I use some foam tape on the top since the bottom's already popped up, and I did put a little bit of the stamp rudder on the bottom just to make sure it stuck to the bottom and it didn't lift up anyway. Make sure that's stuck down really good. I do the same thing for the fish food. I put a little bit of the tape runner. I cut it into fourths and just stick it in my drawer, keep it for when I need it. And my fat fingers have a hard time with this fiddly stuff. I'm getting too old for fiddly stuff. Oh, I just think it's so cute. Don't you think it's so cute? Now I need my sentiment, so I use the Avery Elle Pierce Sentiment Banner, and I'm going to use the translation, happy birthday. So I'm lining them up on my Tim Holtz glass media mat, which I absolutely love. It's good for everything. It's always at my desk. It cleans up really, really well. Again, I will link that down below for you. Pick it up with a block. Look at it. Make sure it's straight. Using the Gina K black amalgam ink again. Stamping it. It looks really good. I will now cut that out with the Avery Elle banner, and I will use my purple tape. Purple tape now comes in 1/2 inch, which is really nice, but I use my purple tape over and over until it doesn't stick anymore. And there's that cute little banner. Look how cute that is. I was going to glue it down with a tape runner, but then I decided that liquid glue is probably the better option, so that I again have the option to move it around in case it's not even. Typically I use a T-square to make it even, but for some reason I forgot to do that on this particular card. Make sure it's stuck down really, really well, because you don't want that to come up. I then get my card base, cut it, fold it in half using my Teflon bone folder, which leaves no marks or shiny spots. And then I adhere my card to the front, to the back of the card, again using the liquid glue. I kind of stand it up and line them up and put one on top of another. I'll get my heavy block and I'll put it on top, and that way it will stay put. Out of the die cuts that came with the Keep On Swimming, I cut 3 little tiny hearts, and I use my Marvy jewel picker to pick them up. You will see that my Marvy jewel picker needs cleaned because I was having some difficulty picking them up and dropping my little hearts. And I'm sorry about that. But those are the little details in my mind that complete the package and give it a little more interest. If you look at the before and after with or without the heart, with a heart is so much cuter. I lay out my hearts, figure out kind of where I want them to be, blow them all over the place, and stick them down. And this is pretty much my finished card. I did take the Bloop Bloop and the splash, and then I did stamp it on the back of the envelope. I love to stamp things on the backs of envelopes. It just gives you a precursor of what's happening inside. And there you go. There is the finished card. I hope this video was good. Please give it a thumbs up, and I've learned a lot, and I'll do better next time. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks a lot.